What if your next investment wasn't in residential real estate, but something a little bit more exotic? Hello, everyone. I'm Nate Carver, your favorite mortgage lender. Today, we're talking about commercial real estate investing. My guest today is Bruce Norwood, who is a commercial real estate expert in Texas. Hey, I'm Nate Carver, and welcome to Between Two Doors. Hey, Bruce.
Good morning, Nate. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's hot. It's hot.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's we're on the tail end of it though. So maybe a couple more weeks we'll get into fall weather hopefully. Um, how's things on your side?
Good, good. It's everybody's waiting for interest rates to change, so it's kind of been hit and miss, but it's been picking up lately. A lot more interest, so
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, it's those rates. They're gonna do what they do and no one has any control over it. I
Yes.
always say get your hands on the property. We can always refi. Um, hey, tell me, so you started in the commercial real estate space about in 2019, is that right?
That's correct. Yes,
Can
yes.
you tell me a little bit about your journey to that, and then we'll jump into the commercial questions.
Sure, sure. I was raised in Houston, graduated Houston area, went to Arizona State, got a degree in psychology. Came back to Houston, wasn't sure what I wanted to do with a psychology degree, and worked for Randall's Supermarkets, Rice Food Markets, and then left them and went to work for Nabisco. And in there, I did sales, merchandising, and account management. Then I went to work for Coca-Cola for years. I don't think I mentioned that to you before. Spent a lot of years with Coca-Cola, and I did a sales management, account management there. Uh, Spent my last 5 years before I did real estate with a food franchising company, and traveled all over the western part of the country. I was a Western regional manager, and that's where I got the passion for commercial real estate. I realized, and I met a lot of commercial brokers across the country on location and space and what all these things meant and how it worked. And that's where my real love for commercial real estate came in.
Nice. And to date, you've done a little over $220 million in commercial real estate transactions.
Yes, that's correct.
Wow. What
Yeah.
was the very first one?
Very first one was a just under 2 acre lot in Anna, Texas. My client still owns it. And so he hasn't done anything with it. It's still undeveloped, but that was my first, and I learned a lot. I think in real estate, the first year, you kind of learn what you don't know. And
Hmm.
sometimes you don't even know the questions to ask the first year. So I learned a lot through that process, and I feel I've gotten better, uh, not just from myself, but mainly from my clients.
Wow. So commercial real estate 101. Let's imagine I'm listening to this podcast and I own a couple rental houses. I've heard people talk about commercial real estate, but I really don't understand it. What's the biggest difference between investing in residential and commercial real estate?
Well, residential, if you're talking just residential, someone owning a home, there's a lot of emotion. I always use the example: the woman loves the kitchen, the man loves the man cave, or whatever. Commercial is all about the dollars and cents. How
Hmm.
much profit, money can it make you? Whether you're an investor or the end user, it's still about if you put a business in there, how much is it going to cost your business to have that building? So there's just a lot of variables. The biggest thing is it's income producing.
Okay. What kind of properties are you talking about in the commercial space?
Okay, so I do land. I do a tenant representation for office buildings, retail space. I've done some leasing representation for tenants and landlords, and then I'm purchasing some buildings for some clients also. And
Okay.
most of those buildings are office retail.
Office retail. Is there, I don't know, is there like a ideal sweet spot in the commercial space? Or is it come down to the the borrower portfolio?
So let's go back to your first question. You asked about somebody diving into commercial. I
Yeah,
think it's easier for retail because the numbers are a little more easily explainable.
yeah.
What kind of profitability, what your cap rate is, what all those things are, what your operating income, net operating income will be. I think those are easier to explain in retail. So
Okay. On the property type, is there one that you found that seems to be easier to uh, get to closing? Is there, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm just thinking like, Elon Musk is about to build the world's largest building in the world here in Texas. I can't
yes,
imagine what that looks like. But then down the street, there's a strip mall, maybe four storefronts being built, and then anything in between, right?
yes, yes, yes. Uh,
Okay.
I think well, obviously with Elon Musk, he's got the financials not to worry about it. That's the most
That's,
consideration.
I wonder if he's taking a loan.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The retail space is my niche. I like that a lot because I like helping mom and pops get started with, and that's the term rather than national chains like Chick-fil-A or Chili's or whatever it may be. I like seeing the mom and pops dreams come true, and that's kind of my niche.
Yeah.
I really like that. I love doing that, helping people out to get that done.
Okay. Um, any misconceptions on commercial that you run into consistently?
I think I think the biggest thing they think it's going to close like a house in 60 days.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to close like a residential in 60 days. That's just not true. There's more details, more things you need to look at. Once again, going back to the finances, where we want to go through the previous finances,
Yeah.
the building. And then on the personal side, they've got to get their finances in a row too. I know you'll appreciate this.
Yes.
They've got to get their tax numbers in order. They've got to get their a business plan, all those things put together, and uh, and then search for the property they're looking for. So
Yeah. I'm working on one right now. It's in month 6. Um, but on the plan, if you will, the ROI on it is phenomenal. And, you know, I always like to think in terms of mailbox money as an owner. That's it's fantastic. And so they keep working through the things that they need to do. Um, a lot of it has to do with the builders, not necessarily the lender. I've got my packet put together, so we're just getting all the physical things done, so or set up. So yeah, okay. Finding the right investment. Do people come to you and say, "Hey, I want to get in the commercial space, but I don't have a clue what kind of commercial space," or do they already generally have that in mind when they come to you?
they generally have that in mind. Um, some will come and go. I'm just looking for land. Well, that's easy, but um, there's easy parts of it, and then there's hard parts of it. You got to determine what the land can be used for, if it's zoned for anything. Are there any easements? Are there anything? All those things that go into play. Is there any floodplain? And if you're going to build something, how's that look? What's that sound like? Um,
Okay.
Building wise, most people have an idea what they want to do. I, I kind of tell people if they've been in business for a year or years and they've been leasing for 5 or 7 years,
Mm-hmm.
look at their own building. And if they could build a building that had themselves and two other tenants, let the tenants help pay their mortgage. Um, that's
Yeah.
a win-win. They're building equity and investment in their business and the building.
Right. Okay. Do okay, so if I had, let's say, so I think about this, getting a physical space instead of working from the mortgage bunker at the house here. If I came to you and said, "Hey, Bruce, I've got $200,000. I would like to jump into the commercial space. I kind of have an idea. Um, what's the first thing you're gonna ask me?"
Well, I'm going to ask you how much more you have because I don't think 200,000 is going to get you very far.
Little
Uh,
building, no.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you take a, let's just use Anna or Van Alstine or Melissa. If you take a home and refurbish it to commercial, you're probably going to spend 500,000 on a home and maybe 200,000 more to get it up to commercial code.
Okay. So would it be if someone came to you like that, I said that to you, and is there in your network, do you have other investors that you might be able to marry them up with? And maybe they do a partnership, or is that in your wheelhouse to make those introductions too?
Absolutely. That's all part
Okay.
of the network, building the
Oh,
network, even a joint venture, maybe with the landowner. There's all sorts of options there. So the
oh,
landowner puts the land in, you put in your amount, and then as it grows,
right.
you both profit from that. So
That's what I like to hear. That's what I was hoping to hear because I get an idea. I know some they'll have an idea, but maybe individually they can or cannot do it.
yes.
Um, but putting those together and doing those, I did that on an apartment complex out in Abilene, Texas. It was very profitable. There
Mhm.
is no way I could have done that all by myself. It's not possible for me. But we went in with a group, and I got a K1, got a rental check for we held on to that for 5 years. I got rents every month for 5 years. It was fantastic, and it was all part of a partnership. Now I ended up owning 1% of that property.
Yeah.
But that was money I didn't have to go work for every day. Matter of fact, I never saw the property. Never. Never saw it. I always told myself I'd go out there. Never did.
Never do. The great news is the first of each month it was in your mailbox.
That's right. I didn't have to swing a hammer. I didn't have to paint anything. I didn't have to go hunt down rent checks or anything. It was fantastic. So, yeah. Um, okay, so let's talk about some numbers. So what kind of numbers should an investor understand before making an offer?
Well, I think obviously everybody talks about the cap rate first, and that's basically your monthly uh, NOI divided by the price of the price of the property. That gives you a percentage. Um, right now in Dallas area, most of them are running 5.5 to, you can find some for 6.5, 7%. Um, um, and then the second one is obviously the DSCR, uh,
Mm-hmm.
service credit ratio. And I'll just use an example. Let's say your net income of a building is 300,000 a year, and your payments 200,000. So you divide that, and you come up with a 1.3 DSR,
Mm-hmm.
DSCR, and you realize that that's basically 1 month and 1 year and 3 months of payments is all you've got. So you'd like to be higher. And if you're doing a building, if I was telling you, Nate, this is a building I think you ought to look at, I would be looking at the rent rolls. I want to make sure most of the tenants aren't going to be done next year, the year after, or 3 years away. Um, I'm going to go back and kind of contradict what I said earlier, but are there any national chains in there that have a guarantee? Um, Mom and pops tend to fail um, more. I'm trying to say this cautiously, but they fail because people don't plan ahead,
Mm-hmm.
and people get stuck in the business and don't have time to look ahead for the future. Um, so we could do a whole nother one on investing, but those are the things I would tell people first of all.
Okay, we'll come back and do one on investing. We sure will. Speaking of investing, investors hear people talk about the cap rates all the time. Can you explain what cap rate, um, what that briefly explain cap rate?
I think the easiest way to compare it is if you've got stocks or if you've got an annuity and you know your annuity is going to pay 5% a year, just as a number. That's kind of what the cap rate is on this building. If your building
Mm-hmm.
is $2 million, you could expect 5% of that at the end of the year. That's kind of the biggest parallel, easiest way I can describe it.
Okay. All right. Any red flags you would immediately notice when evaluating a commercial property?
Well, I think location's important. I
Yeah.
always use the example. Once again, I live in Anna. And I use the example of Anna's growing, fifth fastest growing city in the country. And sometimes people go, well, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? And I go, we have a lot going on, but there's no Walmart in Ozona, Texas. Nothing against Ozona, Texas, but there's not enough population for that. So you have to have rooftops to make your business work.
Yeah.
So population matters. Then the location in that population also matters. Um, get your finances in order. Um, those are probably the top three. They really are: location and have a good business plan and your
Okay.
finances.
Let's shift gears a little bit. The tenant, um, may maybe that's probably the most important thing. Gotta have tenants that are gonna pay their bills. How important is that tenant when you're determining the value of commercial real estate?
Well, once again, if we're if you would ask me to help you find a building, a shopping center with 6 or 7 tenants, we definitely want to know what the rent rolls are, what they're
Uh-huh.
paying, and then that's a good starting point. Obviously, you already told me you want to do a retail, and we found something that fits in your range, and then we want to look at the rent rolls. Then we want to look at the building. Um, I don't see this very often, but sometimes in residential, people will pass on an inspection. I think in
Hmm.
a commercial building, it's even more important. Um, you may get an air conditioning unit on the roof that's 12 years old. Um,
Right.
all those things come into play, and I'd hate for you to have to invest back in an air conditioning unit within 18 months of you first buying. So there's a lot of pieces to it.
Yeah, that could be, especially in the commercial space, that could be extremely expensive. Uh, Um, that's on an established building. So we go in, we go and pick up a commercial property that's been there and it's got active tenants in it. How about on a commercial property? Say we want to build one. Those and it's let's say it's 6 doors or 6 storefronts. How does how do you quantify what those? Because you have no idea what those tenants are going to be, or do they have to line those tenants up before they get this thing built?
Well, I think all mortgage companies or banks would like to see some letters of intent
Yeah.
from a prospective tenant. I think the first thing is you have to the buyer has to determine what they want to build. Do they want office space? Do they
Hmm.
want retail space? Do they want industrial space? And then from there, you can determine that. I work with developers all the time that are developing land, and they always come back and say, okay, this is our price range for selling it. They pretty much have to put those numbers together from their calculations and algorithms.
Okay. When those tenants, so they all have leases and terms on those leases. Does that affect any valuation of the property when a major tenant leaves?
On the property,
Yeah.
well, it can. I guess, it can because obviously you're losing a large portion. Well, if it's a single tenant, let's say it's a Dairy Queen. That's one property on a piece of property.
Hmm.
One tenant on that property, you're losing 100% of your income. It definitely will affect. But if you
Yeah.
have a shopping center of 5 or 6 and you lose one, you've still got 4 or 5 rents coming in. So
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. I know when I asked that, I was like, well, that's not a that's a no-brainer, but still, I want to get it on record. It's
real quickly, I want to share my first story if I can. My first
yeah.
commercial showing I did was in South Lake. It was in an old Wendy's building. And the agent for the landlord had said, hey, don't worry, it's unlocked. The key's here, unlock and go in. I opened the door and the alarm goes off. And it was probably my first month of commercial showing property. And the alarm goes off. And I'm in South Lake, Texas. So I knew the police would be there pretty quickly. So I
Yeah.
walked outside with a business card in one hand and the key to the building in the other. And 2 police cars come screeching into the parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah. So minor details like alarms do matter.
Yeah. Wow. All right, you said it. Location, and economics. In residential real estate, everybody says location, location, location. Is that equally true or probably even more true in the commercial real estate?
Think it's more
Yeah.
true because your business has to have eyes on it. I know we have Google reviews and all these things nowadays and all, but your eyes, you have to have eyes on it. People have to, if they drive by it, oh, I didn't realize that was there. That's a positive for you. If you can
Yeah.
get in a shopping center that has a large, what they call anchors, whether it's a
Yeah.
Target or a HEB or whatever it is, a Kroger, those are all important because those people are going to shop and they're going to see your sign every day.
Right. Um, do on those anchor stores, is it typically big box anchor stores or it's just locally famous or well-known establishments? What would qualify that?
I just think, well, there's a large anchors like a Walmart, Target,
Sure.
things like that, Costco potentially. Um,
Yeah.
and then the smaller anchors would be the Krogers, and even an HEB would, even though it's over 100,000 square feet, it still be considered a local anchor. But those are all, once again, positive drivers. You know you're going to have traffic in front of your doors.
Right. So maybe another way to ask this. There's a little strip mall over there just north of Anna. I can recall right off the top of my head, there is a convenience store, a nail salon, and a gym. I think there's a fourth, so maybe the fourth isn't the anchor. But it's fair to say, probably even in a setting like that, that one of those establishments is the anchor for that commercial real estate property. Was that right?
I
Is
think
that
I know the one you're talking to in the fourth place is a donut shop,
there you
uh,
go.
South End. Don't ask how I know that, but um, I don't think there's really an anchor there. I think that is
Okay.
just a building that was built and you look at the space. I think the convenience store is probably the smallest part, the largest operator,
Yeah.
maybe the gym. Um, but it's just kind of a space. It really doesn't have an anchor. It's just kind of there.
Okay. So
And it
okay.
services the neighborhood around it on both sides of Highway 5.
Yeah. And there's a lot coming up around that too. So
Yes, a lot.
a whole lot. Oh goodness, I see it every day. What what makes a great commercial location?
I think once again we've spoken about traffic,
Yeah.
the vehicle count. You can pull those from text dot anywhere in the country and anywhere in the state. The second thing is the rooftops. How many potential buyers do you have there? And
Mm,
it may not always be single family residents. It may be apartments. If you've got 300 door apartment complex going in 5 blocks away, and you're a retail space looking for getting people in the doors, I mean, those people are going to drive by you every day going to and
yeah.
from work. And on weekends, they'll stop in to see what's going on. So,
Okay. Are you doing like economic or demographic studies for the potential investor um, to try to help navigate that for whatever it is they're looking to build?
yes, I do that if they're looking to come into an area to build. I always do that. Yes, I pull
Okay.
the city's data, the demographics, the median income. All those things matter. Um,
Yeah. I
so
guess that if someone said they wanted to come in and build a steakhouse and there was already five steakhouses and the population's 10,000, I imagine that would not be a great, a great. I guess the economics on that wouldn't look real good. It's
well, a part of me says yes, but a part of me always says if you see a CVS, you always see a Walgreens across the street. So
there you
um,
go.
and then a lot of restaurateurs will tell you one or two other restaurants is not bad. That means they're coming there to eat, and they may pass them up and stop at yours. But I think
Yeah.
5 steakhouses in one place would probably be an issue. So
Yeah. See, that's why I stay on the lending side of all of this and you're the commercial. I people start asking me as a lender, they say, "Well, tell me what you think about XYZ property." I'm like, nope.
yeah,
Go talk to
yes,
Bruce. And that is, I'll stay in my lane on that one. I can do the numbers. I can do the numbers greatly. And but boy, and I'll go off the reservation when I start talking about interjecting my opinion like that. So fair enough.
yeah.
How important are I'm telling you, I did it myself. Okay, how important are things like population growth? That you mentioned traffic count, employment growth, and I guess household incomes in an area. Those all kind of play into that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely is. I
Yep.
mean, l- let's just. I'm working with a client now that wants to do a large med spa, and she's trying to decide where to do this. And she's looked at Prosper, she looks at Frisco, she's looked at Melissa Anna, and when you look at the incomes in Prosper Frisco, they're definitely higher than Anna
Yeah.
and Melissa. So we're targeting that area. So all these things come into play, and like you said earlier, what are the main points? Well, location and getting your finances in order and finding the right space and asking all the right questions from the tenant. But then at some point you got to do your homework and realize you're working. Every every
Yeah.
every deal we get done is done for the client. So
What areas of Texas, do you think investors should be looking at?
good question. You're trying to get me to do the crystal ball of where to be in 5 years.
I know, right?
um, up and down 75 corridor
Yeah.
between 121 breakoff and this and the Red River. I think going out 121 toward Bonham, Paris. Those are all going to be growing areas. I mean, let's
Yeah.
face it, the way the population is growing in Texas, we'll eventually get to the Red River, and they're going to decide if they want to go across into Oklahoma, or they're just going to sprout east and west. So
Yep.
I think those are good ideas. For example, Bonham area, before Bodark was built, you could buy land for 10,000, 12,000 an acre.
Right.
Maybe now you find it for 25 to 35 an acre. So
Yeah, I've seen on the residential side lots of buyers going up 121 up towards Bonham and into Bonham and surrounding areas because they can get um, more square footage for the same dollar. And on the
yes,
residential side, and then as you said, more rooftops. That's going to drive more need for commercial restaurants and what have you, and all of that. And so I see a lot of that up the 121 corridor. Residential side, Collin County, Grayson County, still the number one, number two in the definitely in the state, and I believe in the country.
yes,
I mean, it is a magnet here in economic and residential growth. And certainly the 75, Highway 75, Preston Road corridors, that corridor all the way up to Lake Texoma, Red River, and spilling into Oklahoma with Choctaw being right there, and then the other Windstar, the two casinos,
sure.
um, all
I
that
joke,
area.
I'm sorry, I jokingly had a lady ask me, where can I find an acre for $20,000? And I said, you start at Choctaw and go north.
Yeah, you're right. I have a buddy that bought a whole bunch of land up in Oklahoma, and it's north, it's north of Choctaw, way north of Choctaw, but it's his. It's
That's right.
beautiful.
That's right.
He couldn't have done that in Frisco. Um, all right. Financial, let's look financing commercial real estate. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about something near and dear to me. That's the financing part. At what point should an investor start talking to their lender?
I think the first conversation they'd have with me would be what they're looking for, what type of land building.
Yeah,
Next conversation has to be the finances and the financials. Um,
yeah,
Getting those to a lender so the lender can take a look at what they can do. I always ask people to do that early because we do have a feasibility due diligence in commercial, which you don't have in residential. But that takes a time anyway to get some things done. If you have to go get it rezoned or whatever it may be, or just the general process. And you don't want to start asking for too many extensions because then the
hmm
seller's going, is this guy serious or can he really get this done? So getting that financial piece done early is beneficial for your buyer and the potential seller. So it takes
yeah.
one man to get it done early.
Yeah, same scenario in the residential space. In both, I like to be able to present back to that investor and their commercial real estate agent a real plan on the finances so that y'all can. It's a whole lot easier to find something that fits the plan than it is to try to you get hooked on a physical property and then trying to marry something to that doesn't quite work.
I
Uh,
always use the example of my youngest daughter when she was looking for a car. She came across this red neon. That gives you an idea how old I am. But she loved this car, and we went and looked at it, and we drove it. And oh, this is the car I want. Said it's not a good value, but it does anyway. It's too expensive. So I'm telling her the hardest thing to do is walk away. And so we walked away, and of course she wasn't happy with that. But there are some commercial, even land deals that aren't positives. You have to walk away from. But
mm,
in most cases, if you got your ducks in a row and you know what you want, um, and there's plenty of opportunities out there. So,
yeah.
but once again,
Are
you have to,
are you seeing? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say there are opportunities out there. You just have to do your research and make sure you've got all the information.
Right. What kind of problems are you seeing if the investor waits too long to get their financing put together?
Well, they're going to delay the closing. They're going to have to ask for an extension, different things like that. I mean, there's other reasons for extensions of the feasibility, due
Hmm.
diligence, but finances is one that we try to get settled early. I mean, your example earlier, let's say you asked me, say, hey, I want to find a $10 million building. And my
Yeah.
first question is, what's your budget? Can you afford a $10 million building? And then do you have the financial capability to make it happen? So
Anything that they should have prepared before they come see you?
I'd love for them to have a full financial statement, 2 years worth of taxes pulled. If they've got a business, 2 years of business of P&Ls and financials and taxes for that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're, like I said, I love working with mom and pops. I'd also like to see them have a business plan put together.
Right.
They always say, man, I've got this great idea. I want to do this. This is going to work. And I said, well, do you have a business plan? And some of them go, a what? Or they go, yeah, I've got a started one. I've got 3 points in an outline. Well, give me a business plan of why it's going to succeed. If I had to sell it to you, the lender, why is it going to succeed?
Right. Are there resources maybe at the federal state level for doing business plans? I don't know.
I think there's some small business associations in the state that can help with that. I
Okay.
mean, Chat GPT will give you a good
This
bullet
is
point,
true.
bullet point to start.
This
Um,
is true.
I have
Um,
people ask me how much land, how much office building can I build on half an acre? Well, I go to Chat GPT and start there, and I'll go in Anna, Texas, for example. I want to build
yeah.
an office condo in Anna, Texas. How much can I build on half an acre? And it'll spit out with the parking and the setbacks and everything. You can build 5,000, 6,000 square feet. That's what it'll tell you. So that's a great starting point.
That's great.
Yeah. Then can
That's
we make
fantastic.
it?
I didn't even, yeah, that's fantastic. I might actually try that. Uh, I run everything through chat. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but sure. That is an excellent starting point. 'Cause I know it'll give you a template and it'll tell you what everything you need to go find to hunt down and bring back and to create that document. I know when my brother did a commercial real estate project, he had a binder that was it was a big deal. It was a big deal. And so
Disclaimer on AI and Chat GPT. Verify everything that you see.
100%. It drifts.
It
Their
does.
dreams or drifts. I don't know. I'll have to read. I'll publish something, and I'll have to read it first, and because I'll put all my notes in there, and sometimes it gets real creative. I'm like, no, 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 don't do this. So,
Yes.
yeah. So that's true. Verify your chat. People can tell when you're using chat. At least right for now, anyway. That may change in the near future. Um, all right, let's build a deal. Let's do this. I'm my little scenario here. Let's build a hypothetical investment. I've got some money available, decent credit, good income, and I want to purchase my first commercial property. Walk me through the process from our first phone call until closing.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
first phone call is getting the details of what they're looking for.
Okay.
I always ask them what their budget is, ask them what their timeline is. Those are all going to matter. Um, and then I just say, is there anything, because some mortgage lender is going to be involved somewhere. Is there
Yeah.
anything that's going to pop up that's going to be a red flag for the financials?
Yeah.
They say, no, everything's good. We're good to go. Um, I start searching for properties. I try to get as much parameter as I can. And then I start sending them some listings to look at, some properties
Mm-hmm.
uptown to look at. And I always tell them, look, if you don't like it, if you tell me why you don't like it, that helps me do the next search.
Mm-hmm.
So if they say, you know what, I want to make sure it faces south, just as an example, and I find if I send them 5 properties that are facing north or east, they're going, he's not listening. So I try to listen to what they're looking for, and they say these are my parameters, and so I send them I try to send 2 or 3 or 4 at a time. Don't want to overwhelm them, and say, look at these. If these look good, we'll set up a time we can go tour them, or tell me what's wrong with them. And once
Yeah.
again, those notes are just as important as the first conversation, because now that they see some buildings, they go, no, I don't necessarily like that. They can check that off their box, and I can take it out of my search parameters. With that said, we come across a building that makes sense price wise. They like it. They like the location and everything. And before we go tour it, I'm going to pull the data for the city,
Mm-hmm.
the income, the house, the rooftops around, the vehicle count, all those things, being prepared. Uh, and then so we meet and he says, hey, want to buy it? We put an offer. We do a letter of intent. Normally in residential, they just go right to a contract. We do a letter of intent in commercial and land, mainly because there's just so many variables.
Yeah.
Show somebody you're interested. The letter of intent is a starting point to write a letter of a purchase contract. And so we get to the contract stage where everybody agrees on the parameters, the price, the down payment, all those things, the feasibility period, the due diligence period. Um, we get everybody to sign that. We get it to title company. We tell the lender we've been dealing with on the financials, we're ready to move forward with this. And then we start checking out all the details that were given by the seller. Let's say it's a lease building. Do the rent rolls make sense? Is the cap rate confirmed? All these things that go into play. We do that during your due diligence, so we can always walk away if the numbers just don't seem right.
Hmm.
So I
All
will
right,
tell
let's
you, I'm sorry. I was
go
going to
ahead.
say one more thing. So I've worked with a few convenience stores, and so
Yeah.
convenience stores, they will send you a P&L.
Yep.
It's on an Excel spreadsheet that you and I could do. And
Yeah.
so I'll say, well, it says your store does $120,000 inside sales a month. And most of those stores will do 35 to 40% profit inside sales. So you can calculate that. And I said, so show me your comptroller receipts for those sales. Well, sometimes they will get those to you, and the comptroller's numbers will be that they're doing 70,000 inside, not 120.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things have to
Wow.
be double verified.
I can introduce him to a great bookkeeper. Uh, wow. Okay, let's get to the fun part. Creating wealth through commercial real estate. Okay. Where do you think commercial real estate fits into someone's long-term wealth building strategy?
Well, I'll just tell you, me personally, I wish I'd have done commercial real estate 20 years ago instead of 6 years ago. Um, but the investment strategy and what's it look like? I think the old adage, there's never going to be more land. They're not creating more land. The price is going to go up, especially as the populations. Well, once again, we'll take Collin County, the fastest growing in the country for how many years?
Mm-hmm.
And the prices in Collin County prove that and show that. And now it's starting to bleed into Grayson County and Cook County, going toward Gainesville, and then even out toward Bonham and Paris. All those prices have gone up because population wants to get out of the downtowns. They'd love to live in the suburbs,
Right.
whether
Right.
it's ranch land or just 2 acres for their own home. Um, and then at the end of that, when you go to sell commercial or a large parcel of land, make sure you're protecting yourself and your next generation,
Yeah.
protecting their wealth also. So all those things go into play to build your wealth.
So are investors in the commercial space, are they looking at cash flow, appreciation, tax strategies, at diversification, or some combination? I mean, is there as part of their strategy, or are you seeing one of those that's above others?
I think if it's a retail business, they're looking for cash flow. They want to see that. They want to see the net operating income. Once again, for that mailbox money. um, I think they're all looking for diversification also. And obviously, I've actually had a tax attorney tell me that the IRS was written for those that want to take a chance.
Yeah.
So
Do you see some advantages between owning the building or leasing the building? Like if you, yeah, if I, is it, let's say I'm a business owner and I'm gonna, am I better off leasing or owning?
well, I think you're better owning, just like it's better to own your house than to lease for long term, rent for long term.
Yeah.
You're building equity.
You're, you're paying someone's mortgage.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're let's just say an office space, or let's say retail space. If you're spending $7,000 a month uh, to a landlord, and if you could build it or already buy a building or whatever that works, and you're paying $7,000, that $7,000 equity to your building is a lot more valuable than paying the landlord's equity.
Okay. All right. $1 million question. If I had $1 million and I said, Bruce, I got $1 million, what do I need to do with it?
I'd say call me first, and then we will find you the right opportunity.
Okay. Fair enough. Um, Man, and you're in a fantastic location. So do you focus mainly in North Texas or are you all over the state?
I mainly focus North Texas, but I'm all over the state. I've closed some sales in San Antonio and down in the valley,
Yeah.
Rockport area. I tell everybody jokingly I like to stay north of 380, but that's not true.
Yeah.
Just for the traffic.
Is there a property type that is like it's your number one? Like, oh my gosh, this is what this area needs. I would love to be this kind in this transaction to make this happen.
Yeah, I love the retail space. I love the
Yeah.
retail space, shopping centers, and even if there are 4 or 5 units, shopping space. I love that. I love, once again, those are more apt to take a chance on the mom and pops, which I talked about earlier. One of my favorites to deal with that have a dream. Um, so yeah, that's probably my favorite. I mean, I enjoy land. I absolutely love that. That's fun, uh, touring land and walking through land and things like that. But my number
All
one is
right.
retail space.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I'm gonna shoot. We're about to run out of time, so I'm gonna throw you some rapid fire questions.
Okay,
This is kind of A, B. You pick one. There's no wrong answer. So, cap rate or appreciation?
cap rate,
Okay. Industrial or retail?
retail,
Retail. Yeah. Uh, single tenant or multi-tenant?
multi-tenant, and the reason being you've got more chances to have income,
Yeah.
continuing
Urban or suburban?
suburban.
Yeah.
You want those rooftops, you want that traffic, you want that location.
Yeah. Cash flow or an upside potential?
Ooh, that's a tough one because it depends on where you are in your finances. But probably for most people, I deal with cash flow.
Yeah. You can always not spend it.
That's
It's,
right. That's exactly right.
uh, first year when I did it, well, so much for rapid fire. First year when I did that apartment complex, every check I put in an investment, and I made it go work for more little green soldiers.
Yeah,
Um, Texas commercial real estate in 5 years, bullish or bearish?
bullish. As long
Yeah,
as the legislature doesn't do something foolish and start an income tax or crazy things like that and continue to be business friendly, I think the state of Texas is the place to be.
It is. Yeah, it is. I 100% agree with you. Bullish, and as long as they don't do something stupid down in Austin. So, all right. And finally, if someone's listening and they've got some questions about investing, they're interested in investing and picking up commercial real estate, what are the best ways to get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is my phone, which is always on. Also, my company website is caprockrea.com. You want me to give my phone number? I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to. I'll put all your links, contact information, wherever y'all are consuming this. Those Bruce's contacts will be right there with you. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Well, phone's the easiest way to catch me, 214-546-6736.
All right. All right, Bruce, we're out of time. Thank you. I really appreciate you jumping on and doing the commercial conversation with me. As a lender, I've got a full suite of lending opportunities with to answer just about any type of loan that would be needed in the commercial space. Um, and certainly I would reach out to Bruce about acquiring a commercial property in North Texas. Fantastic. I really appreciate you being on the Between Two Doors podcast today.
Thank you. Look forward to doing more deals with you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bruce.
Hey, bye-bye.